The Wire sets itself apart from other cop shows in its first season, but the way all 5 seasons work together to illustrate a broader message is what really sets the show apart from other TV shows altogether. This video is sponsored by NordVPN.
I think you need a lot of context to seriously examine anything.
Each season of The Wire doesn't just continue the story, but adds a new layer of context to the show's examination of Baltimore's institutions and characters. Season 1 sets up a problem, the ineffectiveness of the war on drugs, and seasons 2 through 5 show why the problem isn't being solved by economics, politics, education, and the media, and how each of these things contribute to keeping these systems in a cycle of failure. The opening scene of each season serves to illustrate the thesis of that season. The opener to Season 1 serves as a thesis for both Season 1 and the entire show. Officer McNulty sits with the witness of a recent murder. The witness, who never appears again on the show, laments the unnecessary death of Snot Boogie.
You gonna kill Snot. Snot been doing the same shit since I don't know how long. Kill a man over some bullshit. But Snot Boogie always stole the money. Why'd you let him play? Got to. This America, man.
America, indeed. The game is the game, and anyone is free to play it, but that doesn't keep it from being rigged, corrupt, or having severe consequences. Season 1 is one of my favorites. It works so well as a contained story.
Somebody snapping pictures, they got the whole damn thing.
Someone snapping pictures got the whole deal.
Nicely done.
Its circular nature and the bookending of the beginning and end of the season was what originally convinced me of The Wire's brilliance.
Nicely done.
But this isn't just clever story structure. It serves to illustrate how everything in the world of The Wire sits in a kind of stasis, how cyclical and resistant to change everything is. The ending of Season 1 provides no significant catharsis, mirroring how the show will end. While Avon is caught, Stringer Bell goes by without a charge.
Catch you later.
Kima is shot, which prompts an early shutdown of the case before it can bring in all its targets. Those we've been rooting for all season get punished by their respective institutions. D'Angelo fails to successfully reform and doesn't flip, and the death of Wallace, one of the most vulnerable and lovable characters in Season 1, sets the tone for the entire show. No character is safe, and it clues us into the fact that The Wire is going to go to some dark places in the process of exploring its themes. No meaningful change occurs within the institutions. Only a few individuals change for the better, and some of them change for the worse. The second season of the show is one of the most controversial. The story makes a hard right turn from the characters and primary narrative followed in Season 1 and spends a lot of its time focused on a new set of dock workers. TV viewers are more used to this kind of maneuver in a show these days. Many of us have watched anthology shows or shows that evolve extensively from one season to the next. But Season 2 at the time of The Wire's release was startling to audiences. It is, however, a vital season for 2 reasons. First, what the departure from the primary narrative signals to the audience about the show. The departure from the main storyline is uncomfortable. Audiences want to spend time with the characters they already know and love, but that shift signals that the story being told is about more than just the characters we met in Season 1. While much of the show will continue to revolve around those characters' storylines, Season 2 marks the show's first expansion, adding one of those additional layers of Baltimore to the scope of the show. The second reason why Season 2 is important is that it's the first step in illustrating part of why people move into the illicit drug trade in the first place.
I'm done. I'm out. I don't need nothing more to do with you people. I don't need the trouble or the money. I got a union to run.
It illustrates how the failing economy incentivizes people to find alternative sources of income.
They used to make steel then, no? Smoke from the stacks, but inside.
And importantly, it shows that the institutional and systemic failure isn't just a race issue, it's also a class issue. The opening scene again sets up the thesis.
Father used to work there.
That steel?
In the shipyards there, yeah.
I had an uncle who was a supervisor there. Got laid off in '78, though.
73 for my dad.
The images of the decaying ports are shown in contrast to the image of a Baltimore police boat pulling a boat from Washington named Capital Gains.
You tow us somewhere out of the way and bang the place out a while longer.
Throughout the season, we'll see how the police department is used by people in power for their own personal gain. While the investigation in Season 1 was sparked by McNulty's plea to a judge for change, in Season 2, the investigation is motivated by Major Valchek's desire for petty revenge against Frank Sabatka.
I need a detail. CID people mostly, though I could spare some bodies out of my district too.
What for?
I got some guys in the southeast that are showing a lot of money.
This season's wiretap investigation will take a long time to get up and running. The show subverts expectations for the storyline by actively resisting the gang's back together type of moment.
Carver's in the southeast now. I think he's got Sector 2. I mean, it'd be great to have Carver on this, right?
On what? We don't even know what the hell we're supposed to be chasing here.
Since The Wire is expecting that you've paid attention, much of the details of running the wiretap are left out or abbreviated this season. This trend will continue through the show, each season's wiretap storyline becoming more condensed, making room for other subjects. Another key element of Season 2 is illustrating why characters stay in a bad situation.
Maybe if I'd have listened to your mother, because she's the one always talking about you should do the community college like your brother.
Pop, don't.
Mirroring Wallace's inability to leave the city for good in Season 1, Season 2 shows how the generational nature of the dock workers fuels a desire to continue where they are, even when that situation may not be the best for them. The nature of what motivates Nick and Ziggy into crime is important as well, as it mirrors Stringer Bell and Avon. Nick and Stringer's motivations are more purely economic.
You finance a package and we ain't gotta see nothing but bank.
While Avon and Ziggy's have more to do with feeling empowered.
Packages were my thing, Nick. Fuck if you ain't handle that business better too.
See, we're making money.
Avon is obviously more successful and calculating than Zig ever is, but both their motivations come not from wanting economic gain itself, but from their desire for respect and to have control over the production of gain. Season 3 sees the introduction of politics. We've seen how economic dysfunction creates and propagates crime institutions in Season 2. Now we'll see why these aren't easily solved political issues and how the attempts to solve these problems can often backfire, creating new unintended consequences. The opening scene of the season acts as an image of the government, caught in a cycle of creating solutions to problems it has helped create, and then tearing down those solutions as a solution to the unintended issues created by their original solution. We also see the citizens cheering for the destruction of an old solution, and everyone being caught off guard by the side effects of the new solution. Season 3 again subverts expectations for the wiretap storyline by picking up on the investigation in full swing, but it's struggling.
3 months, and we've yet to hear his voice.
This season also contains The Wire's closest thing to an explicit political argument. The development of Amsterdam, Major Colvin's attempt to solve the drug problem through unofficial regulated legalization.
Thought I might legalize drugs.
Is The Wire's argument for legalization and regulation as a potential solution.
If they arrested every dude out there for tipping back a high life, there'd be no other time for any other kind of police work.
But even here, I think The Wire handles the issue well.
Look, I done showed you the good. Come on, let me show you the ugly.
Showing with a great degree of nuance the difficulties involved with this approach, even as it argues for it.
A dope fiend come down here, cop a little something, ain't nary a soul hassler. Hoppers and police, they just let him be.
It's a good thing, huh?
I'm just saying.
This storyline is where the season mirrors the irony found in the opening scene. The image of the government proudly destroying public housing to solve a crime problem, created in part by corrupt policing, is seen in the destruction of Amsterdam, an unofficial solution to a problem the city helped create. Season 4, in my opinion, is one of the most important seasons of The Wire. Seasons 1 through 3 examine the institutions on and above the street level that hold crime in place, while Season 4 examines an institution below the street level, so to speak. The season opener subtly begins to probe the theme of education. Snoop is educated by the store clerk about the nail guns.
You might want to consider the powder-actuated tool. The Hilti DX460MX or the Simpson PTP, these two are my Cadillacs.
She's motivated to learn and is a fast learner when the subject is relevant to her. And she learns by relating that knowledge to what she knows, guns.
You say power?
Powder.
Like gunpowder.
Yeah.
We'll see this play out repeatedly through Season 4 with our band of kids.
The numbers, you can calculate the odds. Mike will have 4 diamonds showing.
Hold on, wait. What about dice? I mean, does dice have odds too? Because mostly that's what we play.
It's not that they're unable or unwilling to learn. In fact, they're quite sharp and adaptive. It's that what they are learning in school has little relevance to the reality they live on the streets. This theme is supported by the fact that Major Colvin's project sees success by meeting those kids where they are. Without Season 4, we'd never see how the characters shown in Seasons 1 through 3 ended up where they are. We might be left to assume that those characters are in the position they're in just because of their own choices or fate. Season 4, however, presents a more difficult and complex answer. It's not so simple as one individual's choice to enter a life of crime or become a corrupt police officer. Every influence around you acts as a magnet, drawing you towards certain outcomes. But it's also never as simple as mere fate, and those magnetic influences come from institutions which are made up of the sum of all the choices of all the individuals within that institution. The way Season 4 relates to the school system and the police department strengthens the argument that it's not just the Baltimore Police Department or mayor's office that has a problem, it's the way institutions themselves are run and structured that can create negative incentives. And again, Colvin's project, like Amsterdam, while it sees success, is dismantled by an institution that's afraid of appearances.
But you wouldn't be teaching test curriculum here? I mean, these would be the children left behind, so to speak.
Yeah, but as it is, I mean, we're leaving them all behind anyway. We just don't want to admit it.
Season 5 gets a bad rap, and I won't argue that it's the lowest quality season of The Wire. The departure of Ed Burns from the writing staff weakened the writing team, and it shows in an attention to detail and realism in storytelling that doesn't quite live up to the standard of past seasons. That said, Season 5 is still a critical part of the narrative that The Wire is constructing. It shows why media, when it looks at everything that the previous seasons examined, also fails to create meaningful change. In many ways, I think the narrative of the newspaper in Season 5 is a reflection of many of the struggles The Wire itself faced. Here you have a TV show that is attempting to seriously examine real difficult themes, and it's completely overlooked by the industry awards in favor of more sensational content. Just like the stories that are being considered for awards in Season 5 are the more sensational stories instead of the more important ones. But it isn't just awards. Before it became somewhat of a cult hit when the DVDs came out, The Wire struggled to keep viewership and repeatedly had to fight to get renewed. McNulty's crazy scheme to invent a serial killer to get the attention of the press and by proxy, readers, in a way mirrors David Simon's frustration that more sensational shows got higher viewership while The Wire went largely unnoticed.
Hey, where you been at, Mike? You gotta see this. See, there's a serial killer, but he only be killing other serial killers.
Again, the opening scene tips us off to the broader theme of the season, deception, and how it's used within institutions and by individuals to game those institutions.
The bigger the lie, the more they believe.
The story of each character and the stories within each season of The Wire are important and significant, but I think the most impressive aspect of the show is the way it all works together in concert to illustrate the city of Baltimore and its different institutions. The show illustrates how incredibly complex the problems it talks about are, and how difficult finding a solution for those problems is. Every season of The Wire helps strengthen its argument and adds details and context to that argument. The seasons aren't just arbitrary chunks of the story to divide production time and distribution. They're parts in the book working together to do something no TV show had done before. Thank you so much to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. A VPN is a critical part of protecting your privacy on the internet. NordVPN is a VPN that I've been using for years. They have thousands of servers that are very fast. I've never had speed issues, and you can have up to 6 simultaneous connections. They have military-grade encryption and a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee. As issues like Article 13 come to the forefront, having a VPN is only going to become more and more important. I recommend you have a VPN, and I recommend you use NordVPN. You can go to nordvpn.com/ThomasFlight to get 75% off a 3-year plan, and you can use code ThomasFlight to get an extra month for free. That's nordvpn.com/ThomasFlight to get 75% off that 3-year plan, and use code ThomasFlight for an extra month free. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much to my Patreon supporters. If you want to learn more about how you can get access to the bonus videos I create, you can go to patreon.com/ThomasFlight.